I don't want you to just watch these videos. I want to see results. We have been dissecting the market together week after week. I have warned your analysis skills. You have learned the strategies. Now it's time to put them into action. This week, as usual, I will be your guide with the weekly analysis. We are ready and we are pumped up. One thing for sure is I honestly don't want you guys to just watch these videos. I literally want to see results from the work that you are doing, right? You have the tools, you've got the knowledge, you have learned from all the videos in this channel, and you are absolutely capable of pulling a cool 30%, just 30% that I'm asking from you guys for this particular week only, right? And this week we are throwing it down. I mean, 30% is not too much to ask for. 30, yes. And I know you might say 30% is a drag, but most of the people that watch these videos, they literally have small accounts, so I can't go and target 1%. Like on $100 account, 1% is $1, right? So we're gonna say 30%. If you have a large account, maybe you're trading $100,000 prop firm, you can say 3%, at least go for 3K, you know, something reasonable. But listen up, those of you guys with small accounts, those $5, $10 won't really cut it, right? Let's do a good 30%. We are aiming for something significant, right? We want to make a difference in your trading portfolio. You have all the material, guys. We're not here for chump change, right? We're going for 30% gains minimum this week, right? Let's make it happen. But before we do all of that good stuff, if you're new to the channel, welcome. We trade Nasdaq over here. If you're returning, welcome back. You know what's up. Don't forget to hit the like button, turn your post notifications, and subscribe to the channel. You feel me? Because when we hit 10,000 subscribers, I'm going to be doing a little giveaway, finding 10 different accounts and giving 10 different subscribers free mentorship. You don't want to miss that. Yes, sir. As you can see, I am so ready and pumped up for this week. You know what I'm saying? And one thing you should keep in mind, I am not going for 100% win rate, because that doesn't happen in the market. Drawdowns will definitely come. You are going to take a loss here and there. The market is a roller coaster, right? There are going to be dips, there are going to be corrections, but what you're going to tell yourself is you are going to come back to me with a 30% portfolio for this current week, right? Let's get onto these charts and get this thing started with. And as usual, you know that we are going to start off on our investing.com. We can see that Monday, we don't have news. The Mondays are trap days, right? We're going to be careful, but since we don't have news, it might be a safe day, right? We can look at Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So the rest of the week, we're going to have news. But the good thing about this, the time that the news happen is the same time that the New York session opens, right? So we're going to be good because we are looking for that little volatility in the market, right? But you always have to keep in mind, especially if you have a prop firm that does not allow you to trade news, check if these are one of those red folder news so that you're not caught up at the wrong side, right? So this is what we're going to be looking at. Yeah, nothing too crazy. Only on Friday probably is when we are going to just be, you know, careful, a little more careful, because we have a lot more news on Friday, right? Let's go on to our charts right now and see what Nasdaq has in store for us. So as you already know, we had an absolutely good week. You can see we wrote this buy on gold, and then it hit our take profit, and then it dropped down, you know, and then right now, those that actually trade gold, you might want to look at this thing, right? If it rejects at this particular zone, you might want to go in for the buys, but if it really breaks out of this zone, you already know that you are riding this thing down to the bottom, right? But then you obviously know that we're not going to be analyzing gold, right? We are just going to be analyzing our Nasdaq chart. And as you already know that this week we are not off at the highs, right? You already know that Nasdaq has been closing off at the all-time highs, and a lot of people were not expecting this little reversal right over here. A lot of people were literally in the buys, and then it just caught them off. After it broke out of this zone, it just pushed up and then just caught everyone off guard, right? Which was a little interesting. But then you can see over here, I do have that red line at the bottom, that red trend line. It's always been at this zone for a little bit of guidance, right? You already know that the market always moves up, comes back down to breathe, moves up, comes back down to breathe. And then it seems like that's what Nasdaq wants to do for us for this current week, right? As for the daily time frame, right, this is exactly what we are concerned about, right? We are saying that if the market comes back to, this zone is not really that important, because it's kind of like, yes, a little dodgy candle there, but I would like the red one, right? I would like this current zone right over here. But before the market really gets down to this point, we would want to see a lot of volatility at that zone, right? So we might want to just focus on this current one. And then obviously you already know that the market never moves like this. I always say to you that it doesn't move like tap water. There's no way you're going to see the market moving like this. So obviously we're going to see, you know, a little, it might move around like you know, playing around around like this, if it's going to come to this trend line, or it might move around, come back to this trend line like this, because this is already our high at this zone. But then when I say that the market doesn't move like tap water, that's exactly what I'm talking about. It just doesn't go down straight like this, right? So let's go on to our 4-hour time frame, of course. So we already have our zones from the daily time frame, this zone over here, and then this current zone over here. And then the first thing that you are seeing, if you look at this market, right, is we already have a high, right? But the high is kind of like far off, right? You see the high is too far. Before the market moves to that zone, we would want to catch it probably from around about this zone, right? So we can consider this little zone here as a zone that we would want the market to break out of if we are looking for buying positions. But what you already know is we can draw a trend line from this zone. Technical analysis is also important, right? So our trend lines are drawn from weeks to weeks, bodies to bodies. So we are going to do the body to body. Ooh, look at how nice that looks. It's already a break. Right, we already have a break out of the trend line. That's absolutely lovely. So if you actually saw this on Friday, right, you could have capitalized on this trade. The only reason you did not see my trades on Friday was because I had actually seen this breakout, right, and then the retest, but I did not want to go in for a selling position on Nasdaq because of the strong uptrend momentum it had. And then I didn't want also to be left in the market to hold over the weekend, right, because some prop firms don't really allow you to hold over the weekend, right? And I was just, a little bit, laid back concerning this trade because it wasn't one of my best setups that I would probably want to take, right? So just by looking at this, you're going to see that we have a break out of the trend line, and then we have a little bit of a retest that it did right over here. And then depending on how the market actually opens at this zone, right, if it just opens and breaks this current zone that it's at, right, we already know that it's targeting this zone right over here. And then if it does that, it does pretty look like a little bit of a retracement from that uptrend, right? It looks like the market, it wants to go down to breathe again, right? That's if it actually breaks this current zone that it's at. So we already know that if it does break that, we're already targeting this zone, right? There is no stopping that in this market. But if it fails to actually come back down to this zone and then breaks this zone, right, we are going to be careful over here because notice this trend line, a break and a retest is valid so long it's still within the trend line. So the market might come to this zone, and I know I was saying that we might look for buys after it breaks this zone, but I hadn't drawn the trend line. It's ridiculous now if we look at it like that. We can see that if the market breaks out of this zone, we can't really rush into buying positions. There is a chance of it really coming back to retest this little trend line right over here again, and then it might use this little zone as a point of interest right here, and then just drop down. So we already know that the buying positions, we're going to look for them if it actually breaks the high. If that makes sense. I think this analysis makes a lot of sense because you're seeing that we have broken the trend line, right? We're looking for a retest at this zone, but if it breaks this zone, it's not like we already have a buying confirmation. We don't yet, right? We want the market to show us rejection. If it breaks out of this trend line, probably, right, it shows you big, bullish candlesticks here showing you that the market is it just wants to go up to the top. That's when we might consider that. But I would say the safer is after the break and the close of this zone. But before that, we want to look for the breaks of these zones and then the breaks of these zones to target the selling, pressure right over there. If we go on to our 1-hour time frame, this is now for those that are going to be in and out of the market, quick scalping, quick scalping thing, right? You might catch this, movement if you're not going to stay in the market for long, right? That buying that I'm talking about, but that's if you're not staying in the market for long, right? You can see that if it does break out of the zone, it won't just move like boom and then just drop. You might want to catch a few pips as a retest. What they call buying to sell, right? You're buying so that you can sell probably around the zone. And then, it might form another, a zone right over here, another swing point here. And then that's when you bring out the other trend line and draw it like this. And then it will guide you to see if it rejects on that trend line. You already have an X formation for this trend line and that one that will be formed like that. And then if it breaks out of it, it's already another confirmation for the buys. If it rejects it, it's already more confirmation for the sales. I think this is pretty simple and straightforward. Remember, we are targeting those 30%, guys. I am dead serious. I want to see those results. So the secret phrase for this video is we don't have news on Monday. Right? But if you did enjoy that video, don't forget to hit the like button, turn your post notifications, and subscribe to the channel. You feel me? With that, it's been Tino, and I'm out. Peace.